In 2006, the much anticipated follow-up to Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind was released. A better looking engine, updated combat system with a new high fantasy land to explore, all found in the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. In the following years, dedicated modders worked hard to bring Morrowind into the fresher system and engine of Oblivion. Now, 20 years later, yes, 20 years, I know, Morroblivion is fully playable. Nearly 100% of Morrowind, including its DLCs, can be played. But is it worth playing all these years later, when Oblivion itself is so outdated? Well, let's delve into Morroblivion and find out. Hello there, my name is Red and I've journeyed across the land of Morrowind. I've spent 50 hours in Morroblivion, conquering the various guilds, exploring the world and finishing the main storyline, all to truly experience what Morroblivion has to offer and see if there's fun to be found. So hit the like button, subscribe and leave a comment as you watch. It all really helps a small channel like me get seen. But let's get to it, shall we? I started Morrowind straight away, on board the prison ship. You can set it up to start in Oblivion if you want. The world transport mod lets you travel between the two worlds, but I didn't do any of that. I just wanted to experience Morrowind. I made a lovely Argonian boy called Scales with Level, a fine specimen indeed. Now you can get your first look at Morrowind in Oblivion's updated engine. The sound effects, the ambience, the alien landscape, it's all there. You're free to explore after the class creation. It's all still there as per classic Morrowind, but of course it's now all the Oblivion class system. The speech interface follows, of course. Morrowind wasn't fully voiced, so most of it is on-screen text. The major downside to Oblivion's interface is of course that text disappears. There's enough time to read it if you aren't too slow of a reader, and if you occasionally learn to skip over some of the more complicated in-world names. Fast travel is of course available, unlike in Morrowind where scrolls, magic, boats or silt striders are the only way. Of course, the biggest question for anything like this is stability. How did Morroblivion perform? Okay, well, sort of. Not really great, actually. It comes with the territory though. Oblivion's engine was not the most stable to begin with, and modding it a bunch just only creates more problems. I came upon crashes quickly when getting to Balmora, the first sort of location you're sent to in Morrowind. Loading in the city seemed to be a trigger. Throughout my experience, the game definitely crashed. Along with Balmora out in the world, I definitely came upon my fair share over the course of 50 plus hours. But to be honest, you kind of expect this, as most people that play with mods know, especially in older games like Oblivion. It is very much nice to come back to the world of Morrowind, but with the fresher Oblivion combat system. Gone is the hit chance dice rolls and a very unsatisfying archery. Well, that's my personal taste and take on the system. I simply prefer Oblivion's version. Now you get the full experience of the combat system in a new world. I went with archery as my main weapon, especially because of how much I didn't enjoy it in Morrowind originally. As I stated, the game is pretty much all there for you to experience. So let's talk about some quests, shall we? Morrowind had no map markers. Oblivion does. You can of course ignore the map markers and still use the traditional directions you get from NPCs and follow them. However, sometimes the journal entries can be a little less than helpful, and because there aren't any hyperlinks in your quest journal that can link to the information like in Morrowind, I found myself lost a few times to be sure. This is very much compounded if you aren't familiar with Morrowind. Looking up some wiki entries might be required. It was definitely for me. The quest markers do really help a lot, however, when they work, though it can be slightly buggy, especially around the southwestern part of the map. The map marker often sent me to this specific spot for some weird reason. It took fast traveling away to another part of the map for it to show the correct way to go. Talking more about traveling, I started to have quite a few crashes in the overworld. One trick I read about is to occasionally go into an internal cell, like inside a house or something, and wait there for a few hours. And by wait I mean use the in-game waiting system. The game seems to have some problems with cell errors. This is just the Oblivion engine's native errors. Useless data can build up and cause the game to crash. That's my basic understanding of it. I don't pretend to be any expert. I did install a purge cell buffers mod to help with it. I basically found that after a while a crash would build up. A big indicator was the trees. When these black boxes started appearing around them in the distance, it meant a crash was incoming. Saving then relaunching reset this, so it's not too bad. Loosely around an hour was the time I found I needed to save and restart. But out there in the world, you'll come across all manner of creatures from Morrowind's world in Morroblivion, some with varying degrees of success. I make fun, of course, but it is really all great work and helps bring the world of Morrowind to you. From the peaceful Betty Netches to the nightmarish ash monsters, you can find them all. Some of the Dwemer creatures are a little rough when it comes to animations, but they're trying, damn it. It does ruin the fear factor a little, turning them from murderous automatons to goofy robot guys. I did have a particular problem with cliff racers, these flying jerks. They are rather glitchy once you take them out. I made sure to lock my frame rate to 60, but even then they seem to be running almost too fast and a little bit weird. They have of course done the best job they can bringing Morrowind's magic into Oblivion. Doing the best they can, of course, not everything could be brought in. It wasn't too long before I got myself Levitate, a spell missing from Oblivion, and was soaring through the air like a true hero, raining down arrows from above onto enemies that simply had no way to deal with it. Again, like a true hero. As stated, some spells are missing or have been modified. You can't increase your jumping to insane levels and leap halfway across the map. The engines simply can't handle it, unlike in Morrowind. But what is included is all the armor and weapons from Morrowind. Though I did notice as my primary weapon, the bow occasionally had some problems with animation. Sometimes the arrows would pull all the way back and sometimes they wouldn't. Morroblivion does include the archery DLC that you could get in Morrowind. There's a lot more new arrows and some have some fun explosive effects. And good news for the Argonian and Khajiit friends among you. You can wear all of the armor pieces now. Oblivion put aside the idea that for some reason no armor smith was capable of customizing boots or closed-faced helmets for Argonians or Khajiits, or that no enterprising smith saw a good niche to fill. Though occasionally some things may clip a little, like the bone mold armor and my good boy's snout here. The enchanting system is all there, working of course, as well as the spell-making system, which is good. My favourite spell is the Mark and Recall, another spell absent in Oblivion. You can use one spell to mark a location. Casting Recall teleports you back to the marked location until you mark another. My only gripe is that the icon is exactly the same. I teleported myself to or away from locations by accident a few times. I personally did have some aesthetic problems with some of the mushrooms not taking on the correct fog filter, making them stick out. This could have been a me and my install problem, however, as I couldn't find anyone else reporting the same issue. Speaking of problems, I did blunder into one with the Thieves Guild. Now, if it's been some time for you, like it has for me, in Morrowind, you might forget that you can lock yourself off from the Thieves Guild if you go too far into the Fighters Guild. A certain quest garners you a negative amount of reputation with the Thieves Guild, locking them off forever, which is great for storytelling or giving your choices meaning when it comes to game design. Not so great if you're like me and you're recording a Let's Play series in the game and want to do a bunch of the guilds. The Morroblivion people did code in the guild-based reputation system, going beyond the simple fame infamy system from Oblivion, which is really neat. All of this is to say, you can run into problems where you need to fix something, or want to at the very least, but you can't simply look up the problem, because Morroblivion and Morrowind don't share the same ID codes, among other things. You either have to know enough to be able to dig around in editing software or try and find the answer. Fortunately, I did find the answer, which I'll put in the description. It's a console command to reset your reputation with the Thieves Guild, specifically in Morroblivion. Now, talking more about quests, they mostly went down fine. Like I said, I did occasionally have to look some things up for the sake of my own sanity. You don't have the proper hyperlinked lookup system, so someone may tell you something, but it won't go into the journal log, so if you find yourself playing the next day, remembering what you're trying to do, it can be a problem. But that all aside, the guild questlines are all there. I personally fully completed the Fighters Guild, the Mages Guild, the Thieves Guild, the Imperial Legion, and the Imperial Cult, along with a few side missions of course here and there, as well as the main storyline. The only problem I did run into with the stuff I played is in the Imperial Legion's questline. You need to get the Lord's Mail near the end of the questline, but it bugged out for me and wouldn't trigger properly. I needed to use console commands to set the quest stage, which again, not the same as Morrowind, so I needed to use software to find the answer. Once again, I'll put that specific code in the description. The quest, however, was bugged in general, so I had to set stage a few times. But that's the only problem I had adding quests aside from the standard stuff, like not really knowing exactly where to go with the Hortator stuff in the main quest line. And I will say the version I played was 0.67 for my entire 50 hours. 0.68 has recently just come out as of this recording, so hopefully that buggy quest is fixed. I also at one point did want to test adding in a normal mod that wasn't a fix to my game, so I added the sprinting mod so I could zoom around, and it worked pretty well. I didn't come across any real problems with that, though I did run into the problem where I could run away from NPCs and they of course couldn't sprint themselves, thus sometimes making combat a little cheesy, so I restricted myself to just doing it when I was running around. Though to be fair, Oblivion's NPC pathing is pretty rubbish as well, so I don't think it really affected that much at all. Oblivion's goofiness in general, of course, shines through, as you can imagine. Now, with ragdoll physics, you can enjoy taking down some of your favourite enemies in floppy form. As always, Oblivion's glorious ability to take moments and ruin it with its jankiness is all here. Like how the sanctioned assassination of the former Fighters Guild leader caused me to be kicked out of the Fighters Guild just after being made Guildmaster. Or in the final scene when you meet Azura, a climactic moment as you meet a god figure, only to be ruined by her generic and jovial greeting, then having your ears burst with the overly loud cutscene.
I'm never too busy for a good talk.
You no longer bear the burden of prophecy.
But in the end, the world of Morrowind is ready for you to explore. I found the experience fun, but janky. I know a lot of work has gone into this, and it shows, but it is still Oblivion, with the trials and tribulations that come with it, and especially a modded version of it. Converting a system that requires heavy reading into another that doesn't really support it has obviously been a monumental task with varying degrees of success. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely appreciate all the hard work that has gone into it indeed, but occasionally I found myself getting a bit lost or confused. If I wasn't recording this for my members exclusive Let's Play, check that out for $1 a month you can watch the entire playthrough, it did mean that every crash and glitch was time not spent recording, so I did find it frustrating at times. But thankfully, the load times are short and booting back up wasn't too much of a pain. It is really in the end a fantastic thing to experience and a beautiful way to showcase what people can do if they put their mind to it. It may crash, it may have some frustrating moments, but I don't regret playing it at all. I put 50 hours into it after all. The landscape is all there, the alien nature of it all, the seaside views, the classic fantasy RPG towns with simple layouts, the terrible dusty and clawing ash mountain, and everywhere outside and in between, it's all there for you to play. So if this sounds like something you may enjoy, then jump on into the exciting world of Morrowind, but Oblivion style. I'll finish off by talking about the installation, which when installing it was something that really put me off, I will say. I am someone that loves perfectly clear and precise instructions, and I found the information for installing Morroblivion to be lacking. It has that feeling of you should already know, so I don't need to explain it properly. Like walking into an exclusive club and the members expecting you to know all their special rules already. I may be exaggerating here, but that's how I personally felt when looking up guides for the latest version at the time, 0.67. I'm going to try and fix that by giving a detailed guide now with the latest version 0.68. For those not staying for the installation, I hope you enjoy this review. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe and let me know in the comments about your experiences in Morroblivion, Oblivion, or Morroblivion. I always love to hear from people and their fantastic stories. But if you're going now, thanks very much for watching. Now, a disclaimer about this installation guide. I actually don't know if I'm even installing this correctly, such is the nature of this, so if anyone watching knows something is wrong, please do politely correct in the comments. Links to everything in this installation will of course be in the description. Firstly, you need to install legal copies of both games, Oblivion and Morrowind, DLC included. I use Steam copies, but apparently GOG will work too. Run each game once to ensure they're working and to generate game files. Now, head to the download post. First up, download OBSE from GitHub, downloading the latest zip here. Next up is each OBSE plugin recommendation. These are all Nexus mod downloads, and you need to download each manually. First is Ellie's Universal Silent Voice v93, Menu Q OBSE plugin version 16B, Engine Bug Fixes version 2.22, Oblivion Display Tweaks, Add Actor Values, Sky BSA, Blues Engine Fixes, and lastly, Cell Lookup Robustness. Now you've got all those downloaded, let's move on. Next we need to scroll down to find the Morroblivion installer link. Currently, the Google Drive Mirror is the only one available. Click it and download it. This may take some time as it's nearly 2 gigabytes. Next up is the modding tool, Wirebrush. The latest standalone version should always be fine. Now, we need to download the 4 gigabyte patcher from NT Core in the second last link. Last but not least is the software Loot. That should be the last link in the description. With Loot, you can grab the executable version. Now we need to open 2 folders. One is wherever your zip files all downloaded to. For me, it's my downloads folder. The other is your Oblivion Steam Apps Common folder. Firstly, unpack the Morroblivion installer. It will create a folder, inside is the installer. Run it. Windows may require you to click and run anyway. Agree to the terms and click the Auto button. This should automatically detect your Oblivion install folder. If not, use the Browse button to link it manually. The same goes with the next page. Hit Auto on both. If not, do the manuals again. This is to check that you have legal copies of both Oblivion and Morrowind, respectively. Click the Install button and it should finish rather quickly. Next up is getting Wirebrush into your Oblivion folder. Extract it and cut the MOPY folder into your Oblivion folder. Then we'll do the same for everything that extracts from the OXBSE-22.13 zip. There's a few here, so cut them all into your Oblivion folder. Extract and cut the 4 gigabyte patcher into your Oblivion folder as well. Now let's install Loot. Run the software installer, and I just sort of went with all the defaults. That should work fine for you too. Now the last zip job is getting all these zips into the Oblivion folder in their correct spots. I like to go one by one. You could actually just extract them all and then copy them over as needed if you know how to, but for this I'll go one by one. First up is Add Active Values. This gives you an Oblivion folder. Go inside and cut the data folder, placing it into your Oblivion folder, deleting the other files as they aren't needed. I'll delete each zip as I go too. Next up is BA_engine fixes. This gives you an OBSE folder. Cut this and go inside your Oblivion data folder, pasting it in here. Cell lookup robustness is exactly the same. Cut the OBSE folder and place it inside your data folder. Engine bug fixes version 2.22 gives you the data folder. So cut it and go back to your Oblivion folder, pasting it here. Menu QV16B is the same. Cut and paste the data folder into your Oblivion folder. Oblivion display tweaks is another OBSE folder. Cut this into your data folder. OBSE LS Universal Silent Voice version 9.3 just gives some files. These all need to go inside your data OBSE plugins folder. This is actually the most complicated one. Sky BSA is the last, another OBSE folder. Cut that into your data folder. Now let's run the 4 gigabyte patcher. This patches the Oblivion executables to enable them to use 4 gigabytes of RAM rather than just 2. I patched both the Oblivion and Oblivion Launcher executables. I'm not sure if you actually need to do both, I just did both of them. Now we need to launch Loot. Type Loot into your Windows taskbar or use the desktop icon if you created one. Loot can organize many games plugin lists, so select Oblivion here if it hasn't been selected automatically. From there, you now just need to click Sort Plugins. Then once that's done, then apply the sorted load order, and once that is done, you can just close Loot. Lastly, open the MOPY folder in Oblivion. Here, launch Wirebrush. It may take a second or two. When loaded, it should hopefully look something like this. Now you just need to tick everything excluding this one box. The Add Active Values, I'm fairly certain, is just an example plugin that you don't need. But once everything is ticked, just simply close Wirebrush. Now we can finally launch. You have to launch the game every time from the OBSE_loader executable. This is required. Oblivion should now launch. Starting a new game, you should find yourself in the dark bowels of a ship in the character creator. You should now be able to go through the character setup and head out into the world of Morrowind. Don't skip the tutorial class creation stuff, by the way, inside. It will break the game if you don't do it. As I stated, I have no idea if this is really correct. I already found an error outside with this skirt texture being wrong, but this is genuinely the best I can cobble together with my inexperienced brain. Hopefully it works fine for those wishing to play. Hopefully this is enough for people to at least get started. Again, if anyone has corrections, do please let me know and I'll create a pinned comment with updates. I'll try my best to help people out, but please also do understand I'm not good tech support. I've also never done an installation guide before, so forgive me if the formatting isn't the greatest. If you haven't already, please do like and subscribe. As always, a big thank you to all my fantastic members that help keep the channel alive. You can support the channel and get the weekly exclusive episodes for just $1 a month. The higher tiers support more and get my bigger thanks, especially at the spicier tier. So thank you very much Ghost of Protocol, CS Gaming, Ian Beers, StageCat94, and Frosty20024. I hope you enjoyed this video, or at the least found the installation guide helpful in some way, shape or form. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye for now.